I'm doing wonderful, thank you.
Awesome. Good deal. We're just giving people a couple minutes to jump on, but we're going to get started in just a second. I actually wanted to kind of show you guys as part of this how I'm going to use Claude to send out some reminders to the people who have RSVP'd on LinkedIn. So yeah, it's kind of a meta way of approaching the first part of this. Yeah, Joe, good to see you. And Edward, again, welcome. Believe we'll have a couple more people jumping on. And yeah, so appreciate you guys being here and we'll jump into it. So this is our weekly roundtable, very new call, just kind of started it this week, really. And yeah, so it's something that will continue to grow. And it's really meant to be just kind of a general discussion where we can share projects that we're working on, maybe challenges that we're facing, new and relevant AI tools, and yeah, just really get support, feedback, brainstorm, and have a powerful conversation around AI. So yeah, that's pretty much it for what we're covering today. And so, like I said, I wanted to basically just kind of show you guys. Actually, just real quick, Edward, can you fill me in on kind of your background and experience with using AI and tech and what kind of brings you here today?
All right, so I run an angel investor member organization. Let me turn on my camera. Um, and we're getting a lot of deal flow regarding with companies having something to do with AI. So I just, one of the reasons for me to be on here is educational purpose, just to try to understand it a little bit more. We are using AI in the organization for communication purposes, some database sorting of some sorts and stuff like that. So, I mean, we're just, AI is around us every day, and just interested in learning more.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so the companies that you are involved with, are they kind of like AI first companies? Are you looking to find support with implementing more AI into those businesses? Um, Tell me a little bit more on that side.
I don't really know that I can articulate very well. I mean, okay. So we screen and invest in early stage startup companies. We're industry agnostic, so it's not all AI in particular driven, but all companies right now are using AI as in their company or with their company.
Okay, got it. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, so we also have Joe Wexler on. He's a partner in my other business, Unicorn Universe, and I feel like you guys could actually have some really good opportunities to pass some business back and forth and support each other. So Joe, if you're able to jump on, I'm sure you will at some point. He's always on the move, so um, yeah, love for you to say hello if you can and maybe tell Edward a little bit about yourself.
Hello, Joe.
How are you?
Great.
I am currently trying to invite some people into this room. So they'll be joining us shortly. But I'm working closely with Daniel, closely with his network. Um, Over the last 5 months, I have left corporate America. And I spent 15 years as a financial advisor there. So I am currently building out some cool financial education software. I'm still wearing my financial hat, but I have a gentleman, Bill Cummings, who helps me out with all of those things. And I'm looking for a continued partnership from other financial advisors, accountants, attorneys to really offload the 450 clients that I've acquired over the last 15 years, so that I can go and find 4,500 or 45,000. So I'm really trying to scale out and scale up. Daniel's been exceptional in leading the way with that, and so I'm excited to have him hosting this on a week-to-week basis, because I think as entrepreneurs, sometimes we think that we have doors open for people to collaborate with us, but we actually have a lot less than we realize. So like there's not like there's a click here button for Daniel, and you could schedule one-to-one. Ooh. You could schedule a one-to-one with him. But what I found over the last like month, 2 months, a lot of times we need to take off our partnership hat and just keep on our sales hat, or vice versa, because that really keeps us in the growth mode. And if we're wearing both of those simultaneously, it gets really confusing to the consumer, because they either like want to buy or they want to partner. And when you're trying to do both, that's just a lot. But I would love your thoughts on that, Edward, and then I'll pass it back along to you, Daniel. Was there anything else that you wanted me to kind of like touch on?
No,
cool.
Great.
I'm 5'7", German Catholic Irish from New Jersey as well, born and raised, and now raising a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old out here. So that's like a little bit about me. And where are you calling in from, Edward?
I'm in Dallas, Texas, but I was born and raised in the Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area of Pennsylvania, so we were sort of neighbors
Cool.
for a while. Although I'm a lot older than you. So anyway, no, very interesting. I'm in agreement with you. I mean, I think you need collaboration and partners to scale, to grow, and it's always interesting to try to find the right fit.
Where have you found success in your worlds in finding the right fit, and where do you feel like there's like improvement to be made?
Like I'm not really sure how to specifically. I'm not sure I completely understand your question. Like, you mean as far as partnership goes?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I mean, well, because again, we're an early stage startup companies. I mean, we get some deal flow or partnership kind of working with law firms primarily that are in IP, um, and other disciplines in law, accounting firms, back office, human resource firms, even really shared office space kind of companies and things like that. So, we find partnerships in a lot of different from a lot of different types of companies and industries that work with us.
Awesome.
That's helpful. And where are you using technology to help you find your next connection? If at all.
Primarily LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that feels like a good point for me to kind of jump in. And yeah, so Edward, I know you're looking for a bit of education here. Fortunately for you, we don't have a ton of people on. I know Joe's sending some invites. But that really gives you the opportunity and me the opportunity to kind of go in the direction that'll serve you the most. Feel free to jump in, any questions you have, ideas, or anything like that. I'm kind of just going to show you guys real quick a couple things. One, I think it'd be good to kind of show you guys how the event was created. And then also, like I said, I'm going to send some invitations using Claude. So if you guys can see my screen, I will basically kind of show you what this looks like. So I put together this message in Claude, and Claude is capable. This is Claude Cowork that I'm using on desktop, and it's capable of controlling your computer, controlling your Chrome, and basically going through and identifying whatever it is that you're looking for. So what I'm going to do right now is I have my page open that shows all of the people who RSVP'd for this event. And so I'm just going to send it this message to tell people, hey, this roundtable is we've started on the roundtable call. Here's the link to join us, right? So super simple, but it can be a real big time saver, especially as you're, reaching out and maybe reminding people in advance. I was definitely intending on sending this a little bit earlier, but it's okay. Just for, instructional purposes, I think this will be a good way to kind of show how you can use Claude. This is more so automation, I would say, but it's really powerful to really powerful to use to kind of streamline things like that. So yeah, I'm going to use their names to update the messages. And Claude is awesome at this because, I have so many scheduled tasks that I have running in Claude that end up controlling my Chrome. And at any point, you can see there's this little group right here that shows Claude is running in your Google Chrome. And it's just going to go through and send the messages to everybody. You see this orange mouse, that means that is Claude's mouse, essentially, navigating the page. And so the way it works is it takes a screenshot, finds the buttons, it'll hit the button in a second, and then it'll send the message. Now, I could just do a copy paste thing and send the messages individually, change the name one at a time. But the thing about it is that when you have a bunch of people to reach out to, it can take a minute to do that. So I'm just going to kind of let that run. And then in the meantime, what I wanted to show you and just kind of talk about is actually kind of how the event was put together. So this whole event was built out, the graphic, all of the invitations were all sent out using what I just showed you, Claude controlling Google Chrome. And let me check to make sure we're not getting stuck. Oh, we are stuck. Yes. So basically, I did a very similar thing where I told it to control Chrome, create the event, create the graphic for the event. It did that. I have very specific instructions around how Claude creates graphics for me. So if you look at my social medias, you'll see this style of branding all over the place. It's a very consistent theme that I have. And so it basically did that. It went through, created the event, created the post to promote the event, created the details for it. It'll ask you for permission to control your Chrome, control your computer, things like that. Now it should be running once this gets going. So now you can see here, it's going to the messages and it'll send those out. It should.
Can I ask you a question here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So how do you track who's RSVP'd? I mean, is Chrome tracking who RSVP'd and then letting you know who attended or things like that? Or how much information are you actually getting?
Yeah, so inside of Chrome, well, in LinkedIn, it shows you the people who RSVP'd for the event. And so that gives it the list of everybody. And I gave it this URL specifically to say, hey, this is where all of the registrations live. Go through, and now it'll click through and send the message to each person. So you can see that first one is sent out.
So
Usually,
everyone here has to be on LinkedIn or have a LinkedIn profile to get this, correct?
yes, for LinkedIn, right? Now, I also created it on Facebook. I could do the same process for Facebook. I also have it where, anybody that was actually registered through the system would have gotten a reminder a day before and then an email about 5 minutes beforehand. You guys will also receive, provided you were registered, an email about an hour after the event that says, thanks for being there. If you can make it, come next week. And if you'd like to jump on a call, here's my booking link, right? And so that's pretty much it. However, I have my system set up to where it also keeps track on the back end. I have a database where it's keeping track of every single message that goes out on LinkedIn, every registration that comes in through my system, really all of the activities that it's doing. So I've got Claude set up to pull from a system called Obsidian, which is essentially my AI brain, and it's keeping track of everything.
Daniel, I want to just also, Alex was able to, and this is all awesome content. Thank you for setting this up. Alex K, I invited, he's with FinSync and he works with Luke Thomas. Specifically,
Oh,
FinSync
awesome.
has evolved to realize that they need to have a community base, and that community base can help, business coaches get connected with businesses, connect them with accountants and attorneys and all kinds of other services. So I think the future is bright as far as FinSync goes and everything that they're doing. And there's probably some of this stuff that Alex should be aware of as he's stepping into this role to make it easy for him to do outreach, because he's just one man. And Luke Thomas is only one man too. So I think that, what I'm present to in viewing this is just that you don't have to be one person anymore. And there's probably a lot of manual things that we do every single day that are tedious and inefficient that we could be having Claude helping us out with,
Yeah,
or design
absolutely.
systems and processes around. So, Alex, anything that you're seeing, any questions that you have for Daniel so far?
No, it's nice meeting you, Daniel. I'm Alex, partnerships lead at FinSync. And do you know a lot about FinSync, by the way? It sounds like you're familiar.
I don't actually. I know
Okay.
Luke Thomas, but we
Yeah.
haven't reconnected since we've been, known him for a few years.
Yeah.
But
No
yeah,
worries.
great to meet you
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, if you would please
Yeah.
share more about
And
it.
we do also have JC Majors that just joined. So JC,
Yeah,
welcome. Basically right now, Daniel is taking us through all the cool things that Claude can do through your LinkedIn. And Alex is about to introduce himself, and then we'll either move back into this or move over to JC.
For sure, for sure. I appreciate the intro. Again, Alex, partner account manager or partnerships lead at FinSync. FinSync as a whole is basically a financial platform and network that helps entrepreneurs start, building, grow, and scale their business. I mean, it's really a SaaS financial platform. So it helps with payment, tracking, invoicing. It's kind of like QuickBooks is how you can kind of imagine. And but just more geared to the founder and entrepreneur. It's easier to use, it's more personable. It's yeah, it's not QuickBooks scale,
I
but
would
it
I would say it's like QuickBooks if QuickBooks had like a compass to it and was more of like a
yeah,
GPS, where QuickBooks might feel more like a map,
yeah,
or MapQuest. Is it MapQuest that we used to use, Alex? We
yeah,
used to
yeah.
print it out, and yeah, distracted driving at its finest.
Exactly.
So
Nice. Nice
yeah.
reference. Throwback. Yeah, and right now we're building a Start to Scale, which is basically taking our business coaches and advisors and connecting them with the right founders and entrepreneurs that we already work with. So building that network, and just one of the biggest things that my founders are missing is, they're able to keep track of their finances, but how do we scale our business? And a lot of that really has to do with having that person that knows how to get there or has been there, has been in their shoes or whatnot. And so we're just trying to build an ecosystem to really connect the two parties.
awesome. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and I always encourage people to just kind of ask three questions to identify like where to start with, AI and automation. And it's pretty straightforward. Where are you making the most money? What's costing you the most time, and what's costing you the most energy?
Mm.
And taking those three questions, then basically answering them, and provided your Claude or Codex or whatever system you're using knows enough about your business or the businesses you're working with, you can basically give it the answers to those questions and say, what systems can I use? What automations can I create? What, AI can I implement in my business
Mm.
to really streamline some of those things? And then especially tedious tasks like this, right? Now, obviously, I would never typically sit here and watch my computer controlling and sending these messages. The reason this is so powerful is because not only can I have it doing this message right here, but when you use some of the scheduled tasks, you can really have it running multiple things at once. And that's where it gets powerful. So you can see I've got this Gravity LinkedIn outreach AI system that runs. There's this Gravity directory, knightops. This is like posting for me on different social medias. I've got a sales agent that is going to be messaging people to invite them to the events, right? And so it's constantly just kind of stacking all these different systems on top of each other. That is where it really becomes highly leveraged, right? Because we can only run one piece of automation, or we can really only click one click at a time with our own mouse, right? But when you use AI automation, as you can see, it can be clicking through and manipulating multiple Chrome tabs at once. So it ends up being a really powerful thing, especially once you start kind of stacking them on top of each other. I've got about 100 scheduled tasks that are running throughout the week, and most of them actually run while I'm sleeping, and it just becomes a really powerful thing to wake up and see all the activity that it's done, overnight. So yeah. Uh, I see. Let's see here. JC, I see also Lisa jumped on. So yeah, what's coming up for you guys? Has anybody installed anything like this? Is this new? Is this very surface level to you guys? What are we kind of feeling with, what I'm showing you right now?
I'm waiting till our call so I can learn more. I'm super sorry. I was gonna get on at 12, but I was actually on with Vicky on a phone call about some bank stuff. But no, I am definitely very. I can use AI. I understand AI. Using agents, setting up bots, setting up programs, stuff like that. That's where I run into just I haven't been able to spend the time to learn and to adapt and to get great at it because there's so many other things in my life that are like businesses wise that have taken precedence. So I'm hoping to learn some more about the back ends and the different agents and stuff that I could set up to make life a whole lot easier. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. All right, cool. And also, I just wanted to mention, I wasn't really planning on doing this, but it just seems silly not to. But I did create a school community where I'll be uploading the recordings from these calls, and we can, post things we're working on and, stuff like that, and just kind of have an ongoing, place for everybody. I'm not going to charge for it at this point. Maybe, once we get to a certain threshold, but the purpose is not for me to be generating, $100 a month from 100 different people, but more so just really provide support and value to people who are implementing tech into their business. I do, of course, build custom systems and dashboards and apps for businesses to scale their impact. And that's kind of more so what I'm, gearing things towards. But I also just have a lot of tech knowledge that I want to share with the world. I know that with where we're at, it's one very relevant and important. And I also feel strongly that we, as business owners and people implementing AI, have a real opportunity to create a significant impact and really just have a healthy relationship with technology. So I want to help people see it and understand it in an easier way that can make it feel, a little bit less overwhelming, and also very highly leveraged. So as you guys can see, now Claude has completed this task. I do just want to point something out that if you saw it happen, it totally streamlined the whole process. But as I'm running certain messages and things through Chrome, sometimes it takes it a minute to figure out the best process. But once it does, it's a good opportunity to kind of interject a message where, initially it was going to the list of people and then it was clicking this message and then it was popping up right here and it wasn't working, right? So then it figured out, oh, if I just go to the messages and I hit this button and search, then that'll work. And so I saw it do that. So I was like, hey, use that same process, just grab the list of the names and send it directly using the search function like you just did. And then it was just pow, 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 right? The rest of those went really quick. So wasn't a ton of people, but feel like it was a good kind of example of how you can use Claude to control your Chrome so that you can, run a Zoom call and not have to worry about what it's doing in the background. if I'm on a Zoom call, generally Claude is running things, and I mean, and I try to make it, a point to ensure that I'm leveraging technology while I'm on a Zoom call, that I'm leveraging it while I'm asleep, so that my output gets maximized because of all of the different things that it's doing. So, yeah. Somebody have a question? Or does anybody?
This is like a great. Look, what gets to my heart is when somebody could show me something that's practical that like we're maybe doing every single day of the week, and then when it sparks something else where it's like, hey, this is step one, but now you can invite people into the school program. You could invite them, like you can create a process for people to become fans of Night Ops and what Daniel's up to. So I appreciate that. And welcome Salim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Joe.
I'm excited for
Hello,
more.
hello.
Yeah. Well, we're doing this every week. I'm gonna do just, a short, I'm gonna actually plan for 45 minutes so that we have a little buffer at the end of it. But it's designed to be somewhat bite-sized. I want to do some educational parts of this and then brainstorm, So what's coming up for you guys, right? What are some ways that you feel you could use something like I just showed you to streamline some of your workflows? What are you guys kind of thinking on that? Any ideas coming up?
And maybe like a better question too, Daniel, because this can help you create the content for like next week is like when you look at this, Edward, like how would you use this version of Claude on like LinkedIn or otherwise? Like what's coming up for you?
This I'm not really sure here yet.
Yeah.
I got to kind of plug this into my brain of like, okay, what are my tasks? Like the three questions you came up with, right? I really need to answer those three questions for myself first before I can figure out what would be best to try to have Claude do a number of things for me. I mean, I love the fact that this, you could have somebody working for you 24/7, or this thing is working for you 24/7.
Yeah.
Right. It's just putting it to the proper use.
Yeah.
Right. That you're going to gain, so.
So my default always goes, Edward, to like sales and sales meetings. Like, how could you see yourself using this to help create more sales and sales meetings for you and for your business?
Right. So, sales for me are really recruiting members. So getting more membership.
Cool.
All right. So I'm not sure how to use this to help me do that.
So when you bring in a member,
I am sourcing or contacting people or meeting people. I'm using LinkedIn more than anything.
Okay.
Okay. But a lot of our membership comes from referrals and other members.
Yeah. So is it cultivating a better relationship with the other members so that they're able to use technology like this for their own teams? And is it inspiring them through this technology to invite more people to things? Because I think sometimes we have like phone reluctance, invitation reluctance. And what I'm seeing from this technology from you, Daniel, is like with a click of a button, no longer do you have that human interference of fear of reaching out. Claude's just doing it.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on that, Edward? And we could definitely pass it along to
No, you could go ahead and pass along. I don't know. I mean, because of my particular what we're angel investors or whatever, there's got to be a lot more human touch to it. It's relationships.
Yeah,
that's the problem. I mean, it's more about relationships, and it's more about people getting comfortable with your what we're doing and how we're doing it.
Yeah. Daniel, maybe the next session, if there's like a way for Claude to reach out to people who haven't been reached out to in a certain period of time. Like I'm hearing Edward, you're using LinkedIn a lot for communication. So maybe
Yeah.
Claude would be able to go in and revive conversations that have gone a month out or 3 months out or 6 months out or a year out. Because it sounds like building relationships is a really big piece of what you're doing.
Yeah, this is a good question that you bring up. I mean, I don't know how many messages, most of which I've had some communication going back and forth a little bit. But then there's no way for me, or I don't have a way yet, to organize it. And so I might have talked to somebody 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and that might be 200 messages down, right? And I don't even remember who that was. I
Yeah.
might remember, hey, I talked to somebody about something, and I'd like to. I mean, there are a number of things right now. Man, I'd like to find that guy again, or I'd like to find that girl again. And they're in my message. Like, I mean, now honestly, I don't even know how many messages and for how long LinkedIn stores it in your account. I mean, if it does it go back months or a number? Is it numbers or it's months? I don't even know. Or
Yeah.
if it's there since I've joined. I doubt it, but I'm just saying, but there's definitely people that I had communication with on LinkedIn a year or two ago that I can't find, or I can't remember their name.
Yeah.
I can't remember or I don't have a good way to query it, and so therefore they're just lost in the neverland of LinkedIn.
That this, I believe, and Daniel could tell me if I'm wrong or not, is like a problem of the past because I'd imagine that Claude can document better than we ever could as human beings where you met somebody, how you met them, whether they've communicated with you, responded, and you can really truly probably build a system within Claude for a relationship building.
How do
Are they
you,
That's
responding to you? When was the last time you connected with them? Are they non-responsive via LinkedIn and you need to actually call them? Do you have their phone number or email? Has it collected that data early on in the process? But Daniel, I'll pass it back to you, and now I'm hearing Lisa.
well, all I was going to say is, do I have to build that whole thing, or do you guys know of a way that system is? Because I have people going way back, like way, way back, that used to be my solid customers. And when I was away with my major health issues, I lost touch with hundreds of people. And so I'm wondering, is there a way that I can plug them back into that system, and then using what you just said, Joe, and whatever Daniel tells us.
Yeah, because I just make stuff up, and then Daniel tells me if it's true or not. So.
Yeah, so I'm going to jump in because to answer the questions, yes, it is definitely capable of keeping track of the conversations. However, it does need to be set up. Like Claude itself isn't just going to store all of the data of all the conversations and all the things that you've had. However, what I would recommend is using something like Obsidian. It's basically a vault that stores whatever data that you want, and then it creates connections between all of the different modules, all the different things that you want to keep track of. And I actually, on last week, went into that a little bit, but I'll just kind of show you guys just kind of briefly what that kind of looks like. But basically, and let me take one step back a little bit further to answer Edward's question about, I've got all these conversations, from the past, maybe 2+ years ago. And I don't believe LinkedIn actually deletes any of the messages. It's more so if the profile is still active, right, Salim? I don't think it does delete those.
True,
Yeah.
true.
So
Yeah, yeah. No, it doesn't.
So what you can do is, query Claude to go back through all of your unread messages and then extract conversation data to start building profiles about all of the people that you've conversed with and give it some specifics, right? Don't just, build it because I sent them a message, right? But if we had a conversation, like go and store that conversation. Now, where do you want to store it? Very important question. That's what I'm saying you would want to use something like Obsidian for. So I'm going to show you guys this. Don't let it overwhelm you, but this is basically my brain turned into an AI brain, and it keeps track of everything. So in here, there's this one node called People Network. And I'm not going to click on it because it has personal information I can't show you guys. But this keeps track of all of the conversations that I've had. It connects to the meetings that I've had as well. So it knows what the revenue opportunities are, right? So these three are kind of working together to communicate opportunities and keep track of the meeting intelligence between all of the people in my network. And so what it can do is as it's, checking through your old messages and identifying conversations you have, depending on the parameters you set up, you can tell it, hey, if we talked about this, if we talked about that, then go ahead and store that conversation data, creating a profile for the individual so that you can keep track of all of the revenue opportunities. And then you can have it reach out to people using your writing style. That one's somewhere in here. I've given it, all the copy I could possibly think of for it to create a writing style for me. So it writes and sounds just like me. And then what it can do is go through and send messages like this one to Sergio. Hey, Sergio, it's been a while since we last connected. Wanted to reach out about, something different. I'm hosting this weekly call on Wednesdays. This was just this morning. But the last message was December 2nd, 2024, right? And he and I kind of, well, we haven't gone back and forth, but we did connect at one point. But basically just sending him a message to reconnect, right? Now, the thing about this is I gave Claude the specific parameters about who I want to be contacting. So, it's not just going to be messaging everybody, but my target ICP. So it's actually reviewing their profile, understanding their industry, understanding their position in whatever function it is that they're doing, and then determining if that's actually a good person to reach out to. If it is, then it reviews the conversation history and then sends the personalized message based on, our interactions, the data that it has about that person, and what my message is that I'm reaching out to them with. Does that make sense? Does that help you guys?
So, when it comes to Claude and LinkedIn, we are, we're starting with downloading the LinkedIn data, right? Like requesting downloading data, and then um pushing it into Claude. Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily. I don't want Claude worrying about every single one of my LinkedIn connections. So I was being a little bit more specific with it on my side, where I gave it the specific avatars that I wanted it to focus on. And then like for this call, I had it go through and just invite people whose headline matched or indicated that they were a good target avatar for this call, right? So in the past, what I would do is I would create an event, I'd hit invite, and then I would scroll down through 1,000 names and then click and select all, and it would invite literally everybody in a specific industry, in a specific region. That was about it for the filtering that I could have. So for this one, I said, I just want to invite coaches, consultants, financial service professionals, agency owners, and people who are actively, scaling their business or focused on their business. And so it just invited people that fit those avatars. And so, the more specific you can be with it, the better. And then it would build the profile based on, hey, I just messaged this person. It would then review their profile to actually understand who they are a little bit better. And yeah, so Claude uses tokens for every piece of data that it looks at. And if you have, like I've got 12,000 connections on LinkedIn. I don't want it looking through 12,000 names when it's trying to determine who to reach out to for things like that. So You can, of course, put it into Obsidian and keep a more, centralized database of it all. But again, it's just it creates a lot of noise. You want it to be very specific. Yeah.
Daniel, maybe for the next one, like I would love to know how to kind of move some of these target lists into a place that is more specific. Is that like whether that is Obsidian or whether that is Salesforce or whether that's a custom CRM, could be, I think, really helpful for me to kind of wrap my brain around. Do the work once, right? Measure once, measure twice, cut once is the phrase, but like being able to use this stuff over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So just real quick.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So I know it uses tokens or whatever. So you got to be really careful, or you're gonna rack up a pretty good sized bill here, right? Monthly. I mean, I'm not really sure how Claude charges. I'm not a subscriber to Claude, right? I mean, there's some freebie things out there that I use. I think I've been on Claude before or whatever. But can you go into the cost of this thing a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you control your cost?
Yeah, so fortunately, Claude uses a subscription-based model, and they start at $20 a month. Uh, that won't get you very far, but it's a good starting point. And what I always recommend is start at the lowest end, be mindful of how you're prompting it, and look up different ways that you can save on your token usage. You'd be surprised the tiny little things that can really save you a lot. And then once you hit your limit, then consider upgrading, or, check yourself to make sure you haven't been just going crazy using it so much that maybe it's affecting your life in other ways. So provided that's not the case, then, upgrade your subscription. They then have $100 a month plan, which gives you 5 times the usage as the $20 a month plan. And then they have a $200 a month plan, which is the one that I'm on. And I don't imagine anybody here would need that because I'm building custom applications for other businesses using that. I am like, a super user with Claude. So all of the things that I've shown you, just use my Claude subscription. And so they give you a certain number of tokens per 5 hours and per week. And then once you use those, you have the option to pay for additional usage. It gets very costly very fast when you do it that way. You'd be surprised how little, $50 token purchase actually gets you. So it's really important to be mindful of how you're using your subscription. Now, there will be a time where most AI models like Claude or Codex or, whatever, move away from the subscription model because they're losing so much money on these subscription-based models. And you will then move to more of like an API-based token usage. And that's going to be quite a bit more costly. But for now, they're on the subscription. And they say that, but the other thing is that energy is becoming less expensive, and also token, AI functionality is becoming less expensive as well. So like they keep saying that, but then the allowances keep going up. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But that's pretty much it. And then on the back end with Claude, you can also set a usage limit in case you are using extra usage. So yeah, good question. Any other questions, guys?
Yeah. A big fan of Obsidian. I have built, like an Avast brain. I've built my previous Alex and Mozi brain was on Obsidian, but it takes so much time, like manually, like doing it. I even, exported my Notion into Obsidian, but it's also, like a lot of time. I mean, is there like a faster way to do it with Claude or other AI tools, or not really?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. I did not do my Obsidian brain manually. I gave Claude the knowledge base, all of the files that I wanted it to pull from, and I told it to build my Obsidian brain for me based on the Apple notes that I had that were relevant to what I was tracking, based on the Google Drive folders that I had based on the information I wanted it to track, and then based on a folder that I created with all of the different files that I wanted it to keep track of. And I told it what I wanted specific, modules created for and how I wanted them built out, and then what to look for to kind of build them out and how to connect them. It took a good amount of time to like pull all of the information together, and kind of prompt it through that. But once I had it all there, then it just went through and just built the whole thing out. It's really satisfying to, like be able to see everything that's in your head into a computer where like you don't have to worry about remembering it so much. It's really interesting. Like as soon as I got this put together, I felt lighter and I felt clearer because I was able to kind of not store certain things in my head that I had been kind of keeping in the back of my head. It's interesting how that works. So, yeah, good question, Celine. Really good question, actually.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks. By the way, um, um, did you check out my my second brand of Alex, the one I sent you on Notebook IM?
I have not yet. I will jump into that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. It
Yeah.
has all of Alex and Moses books and 400 plus of his videos. It's really good.
Cool. Yeah, if
Uh,
you want to show that to the group next week, that would be cool. I did just want to say real quick, give you guys a call to action before we wrap up. I did post a link to the school community that I created. And this is just a spot where you guys can post things like that, Salim. I'm going to be uploading these recordings to it as well, and any other kind of trainings and things that I come up with, different tools and ideas and things like that that come up. And then yeah, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in there. And nice, way to go, Celine. Yeah. So anything else before we wrap up here?
Yeah, I do have a question for you about. So, like, we'll talk more. I guess I messaged you a time that I had, but the for me, like having so many different things. I mean, you hear the way that I got all these different things I'm trying to do, all these different deals, and it sounds like I'm just going on and on about like I can't I can't come place. Like this morning, I had a meeting for shades, and then this afternoon, I got a meeting for building. And it's like then I got the bank stuff that I'm trying to do with consulting. Then I got my Keystone where I help business owners get offers and sell their businesses. So it's like for someone like that, like for someone like me that has all of these things, like especially, I mean, even you, I mean, you have so many different things that you had going on at one point, and you still do. It's like, what is the best way to basically get it onto that? You know what I mean? Throw it there, right? Get it there, so then I don't have to worry about remembering, and like because like all the different, like my whole system, my whole consulting company, right? I have all different pages, I have all the documents, I have all the offers, I have everything built, right? And then my other business, I have the things, right, that I know and stuff, but it's just like here's a file and here's a file and here's this and here's that. So can you hook Claude up and then that Obsidian? Can you hook those up to where like it'll basically go through your whole your whole phone or your whole computer, or like like how do you know what I mean, like is there a system, like an easier way to do that, or like what's the process look like?
Yeah. Install Claude for desktop, set up your file system connector, your Google Drive connector, and your messages connector, and your email connector. And then basically tell it everything that you want to have organized and where all of that information lives. And then ask it to probably organize it into Obsidian so it can keep track of all of the businesses you're involved with, have it create a specific module for anything that has a lot of depth versus like a profile like an individual. If it's just like, hey, I'm working on this, here's the information you need to know about it, then you can have it build that out in Obsidian as well. Like I have it tracking all of the projects I'm working on. So I don't have to remember where the folders are. I don't have to remember where to, push the updates to. It keeps track of all of the things that have been built out with it, what stage of each, development process where everything is at. So that I can just jump in and tell it what needs to be done and not need to remember what was already done. It does
Do
that.
you have any, does it have any like So for me, the biggest thing that that I would be worried about is, um, if it goes through like messages and it goes through emails and it goes through all this stuff, do you see it or files? How, like, I'm sure, like, how specific do you have to be, or how, you know, okay, I don't want it, like, how much stuff did it actually pull that didn't, like, that wasn't supposed to be there, or that wasn't relevant, or this wasn't actually that conversation, or that shouldn't be there, or I need to delete these things because those don't actually matter, or
Mm-hmm.
this person got put in there but that person is no longer in business, or I don't do this, or like how accurate is it when like how accurate do you have to be and how accurate is it?
Yeah, the more specific you are, the better the output will be. And what I would say is to approach it more around like, this is what I am doing and this is what I do want you to find, versus like go through and just find everything that sounds like, it might be useful. Because it will 100% find information and things that don't align. I did this post on LinkedIn at one point, and me and a friend kind of came up with this word. Well, he came up with the word whooshka, which is like a silly word, and I never thought I would, be using it or thinking about it again. But it found it, and it was like, this is like the core of your messaging. And like, I'm like, no, I'm like, get rid of that. It has nothing to do with anything. So, and Salim might even remember exactly what I'm talking about. So I was just like, that was just like a blip on my radar. Like, why in the world would you, and this is important, why did you think that that was a good piece of information to keep track of? And what else did you find in that sort of way that I need to audit to verify that it's actually accurate?
Does
So,
it have a way to where I could does Claude have a way where I could take the back end, like everything that I've ever done with ChatGPT, and throw it into Claude? Because ChatGPT, I mean, I use it every day. I mean, like I use the 5.5, and I pay the subscription and everything like that. So I mean, it knows me very well, and it knows everything that I'm trying to do. And not what I've, like, I can if I could take that and put it over there, then it would know me and where my vision is for the future from like this state on. And so it would be a lot easier if it had that to be able to diagnose and go through and scrape and do everything like that.
yeah. Yeah. So the answer is kind of no, but there is a way. So if you want to take all of your information from ChatGPT and move it over to Claude, you can export all of the data from ChatGPT. It'll take about 24 hours and it'll give you a zip file with everything. That's a lot for an LLM to like ingest and actually use. So what you can do is give it the zip file and then tell it, this is the information that I actually want you to use. Take that and build it into my Obsidian Vault as, markdown files to be able to use what's actually relevant and useful based on the instructions you give it. Claude does have a way that you can import memory, and it's not great, to be honest with you. It'll give you a prompt that you give to chat, and then it'll give you the response, and then you put that in as a memory, but it's not very thorough. So if you have a ton of history and you really want to capture all of that, then you export it to a zip folder, and then you can import that and tell Claude how you want it to manage all of the data and where you want to store it, which I would store that in Obsidian, not as ChatGPT data, but as updated information to all of the other specific modules and things you want to keep track of. Does that make sense?
Kind of. I
Yeah.
mean, I get where you're going, and I could probably
Kind
figure
of
it
is
out.
what
My
I
thing
was
is, I
looking
hate
for.
do what?
Kind of is what I was looking for. Until you actually get it
Yeah.
there
I
and
mean, I understand it. Like I understand what you're saying. Do I understand how to accurately do it without doing something that I don't, making a mess and having to have someone clean it up? Yeah, no. But I get and understand, the basis, and I need to do that because that's kind of my focus is those two businesses moving forward.
yeah.
Um, and the app that I'd like to create, for sure.
Yeah. Well, 100%. And here's the thing, and I'll leave you guys with this as we are at the top of the hour. Fortunately, everything that you have Claude create, it can uncreate. And so you know, you don't need a person to come in and clean up your mess, but you just need to be able to understand what messes were created if you did create a mess, and then what needs to get removed. Be very cautious about how you remove things, because it can delete system or files from your system. It can delete things that can cause you a lot of headache. So just be cautious with that. It will prompt you and ask for approval beforehand. But yeah, so just be really mindful about that. But I would just, you know, kind of give it a shot. You know, the biggest risk is that you blow through way more tokens than you wanted, and you hit your limit, but you're not likely to have too much of an issue with that, especially as you're kind of learning through some of these things. Using extra tokens is kind of just part of the process when you're first getting started with it. So, yeah. So, and then just one last thing I want to say with that is watch it, right? Use Claude Cowork versus Claude Code as you're starting, because it'll give you real-time feedback about what it's doing, and you can stop it if you're seeing it go way over on what it's supposed to do, or you're seeing things that that you don't like, and then you can interject with messages like, "Hey, no, don't do that. Hey, that's not what I meant. Hey, that's not relevant," and things like that. So, yeah.
So you said when I download it and get started and do all the zip file and stuff, it's Claude work.
Yeah, Claude Cowork, which you need the desktop version of Claude for that. Yeah.
Hey, Daniel, I have a suggestion which may be not entirely relevant or helpful, but between Unicorn and between that other thing that you recently did where there was a whole bunch of people who were not in Unicorn, I can't say the name of it, but a lot of people went to it. So let's just say that I am just learning how to like ride a bike and maybe roll around on roller skates, and you are in a amazing device that will take you to all the other planets. So we both have a form of transportation. You're a little more advanced than mine, right? So riding a bike versus being in a rocket ship. So if there's a chance, and I don't know because you do so much, you really do, but if there's a chance you could do something like this and walk those of us through who are so not just new, but not even in the right universe, let alone the right planet, and walk us through the beginning steps. Like when you were saying things today, I was taking pictures of stuff and I was looking up Obsidian because I didn't even know what that was. And like, there's all these things. Is there a chance for you to do a very beginner class with some handouts and things I can print and go and work on later and learn those things so that I can come back to something like this and be like, okay, I've set up my Claude and I've set up Obsidian and I've done this couple of practice exercises with it, and I'm getting more and more familiar with all these different areas. And yeah, I'm going to be going and getting those old customers that I haven't talked to in years, like the guy earlier, Edward, was talking about people he lost contact with, and all, and I can do that. Oh, and then this guy just said this thing just now that I want to do that too. You know, like if there was something to help maybe 20 or 30 of us, that because I've heard other people say similar things. I think I'm the most far behind, but I think there's other people kind of in my boat, you know, and thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say you're not behind. That is something that so many people.
I'm in the life raft outside of your boat.
So many people aren't even scratching the surface. You're at least scratching it. So, you know, and AI is going to be moving so fast, right? So what I would
get
say
it.
is try it out, play with it. You know, if you want me to do like some sort of workshop, you know, this was an hour long and I feel like we barely covered, you know, anything, and we didn't really cover what you're looking for, right? So an introductory to Claude and, you know, how to use Claude, how to set up your Claude to like maximize your output as a business owner. There's the title.
Right.
That could, I think that's what you're kind of looking for, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm working on something actually, that is more of like a one-on-one support for that, but But yeah, I feel like, something like a workshop probably, I really see if we were doing a group format with that, it'd probably need to be 3 or 4 hours to really go through all that. Maybe even,
Right.
2 2 hour days, right?
I
To get
was thinking the same thing. I was thinking 2 2 hour days. And then also, like if you had some stuff on day one that you had us then go and do those activities and come back to day two with
Yeah.
da 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 da, then that really helps people when they go and do what you said right after you give them that information and you give them that worksheet to go and okay, go do all these things and then come back tomorrow and then we'll go to the next step, type of thing.
Yeah.
And then I think the last thing about that is that if have some sort of a checklist. You're going to need Obsidian if you have this. You're going to need this if you need this. You're going to need that thing if you go set up all these things that if you really need automated da 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 to contact 5,000 people versus just a couple hundred people. Here's where you want to angle what you're trying to do and what you're trying to set up for your needs. Like here's some of the areas for you to look at, and then here's how to, like you said, here's the starting steps to do Claude. And I had a bunch of the other ones already, Gemini and Copilot. I had all these, and I haven't even done much with them. I've done mostly with chat app, but I want to go to Claude and some of these other ones. And then you mentioned several other ones earlier, a couple other ones when you were talking that I didn't even know what they were. So again, I'm okay with picking just one and going with it, like picking Claude and just going with it. I've got to start somewhere, but I don't have your thing that you showed with your brain. I took a picture of that too, so that I could look that over and think about what that means and why you set that up that way and how that works. And do I need something like that? But you have so much more in the automated and interactive world that you live in the virtual world. But I still need to use some of these things because if I can be sending out messages to people automatically, and if I get back to where I used to be with hundreds of customers, and when I have sales and different things or specific to their category, are they a skincare person? Do they want gift giving, this and that? If I can automate all of those messages and do all those things and reach all those people, and then when they reach back out, I can interact personally with them, that would be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, so a couple things, right? So first and foremost, I would definitely not start with setting up Obsidian. I would start with getting familiar with Claude. Okay. Obsidian, and I was reluctant to even show that because it can look like a lot and feel overwhelming. And, and it takes a lot of like kind of knowing how you want Claude and Obsidian to work together. So what I would say is I posted my YouTube. Go through and look at some of the videos. I don't have a ton on there about Claude, but I will. I'll have more and more as we continue doing these calls, so you don't miss them. Join the school community where that'll be even more specific about some of the videos and things. Just looking at my YouTube, there are 3 videos specifically that could give you a pretty good understanding
Okay.
about
Okay.
how you can use Claude to create a website, how you
Nice.
can use Claude to automate creating content, basically using scheduled tasks, and then a much deeper dive into the scheduled tasks that I covered last week. So, check those out. Those I feel like would give you a good understanding of Claude. Of course, you can always look at other videos. YouTube University is your friend. It's my best friend. That's where I got my degree. And so,
Nice.
definitely, here's the thing. If at any point you are trying to learn something new or you're having an issue with running into a problem or an obstacle, like search the question in YouTube and there's so much content on there. You can probably find the answer.
I hear
Um,
you. I
post
understand
it,
what you're saying. Yeah.
post it in the school community. Like I said, I was not planning on doing this, but as I knew people were going to be jumping on here today, I was like, why not? Let's just give people a place to share. and give me a place to kind of house everything in an organized way. So it's there. It's free to join. I don't really know what will come from that. It's probably, the least intentional community that I should have created, 5 years ago. But we're doing it now, and yeah, it's a good place to, ask questions, get feedback, and things like that too. So
Thank you,
yeah.
Daniel. Yeah, and I appreciate it. Okay, guys, I'll get on it, and I'll go look at those YouTubes. I already opened the link that you put for both the school link and the YouTube link. I already opened those in other browsers as you posted them, so I'm definitely going to follow through.
Okay. One last thing. Okay. Take baby steps, right? What's one thing that you could use Claude for? If you're automating it, what's one scheduled task that you could create that doesn't mess with your relationships? Okay, those are very important. You don't want to be automating messages to people until you know how it's going to work and that you can trust that it's going to work right. I highly recommend not automating messages or even content until it has something to pull from that knows you deeply. That's why I created the Obsidian Vault. I didn't automate my content until I created the Obsidian Vault. And I would stand by that because it knows my mission, vision, values. It knows my content writing style. It knows my development style. It knows everything I'm working on, my business models, all of it, right? And so I can trust that it's working on my behalf in alignment with my mission, my vision, and my values, in alignment with what I'm actually working on. So every now and then I'm like, that's not true. It called me Rocky, which is a girl who emceed Unicon, and it was talking about like I was her. It was a really confusing post. So things like that, right? Just important to watch it, right? I look at even though I have probably 12 pieces of content, 10 to 15 pieces of content going out every day on every platform, I'm still looking at it, right? So don't automate things that you can't audit, because if you can't audit it, then you have no idea what's going out there
Right.
until you get to a certain level, right? Because I also have like 20 to 30 different platforms that my Claude is posting articles, newsletters, posts, answering questions, and things like that, that I'm not actually watching it because I've watched it enough and I know it's working right. So
Thank you, Daniel, so
Yep.
much. All right.
Thanks, Lisa.
I
Edward,
feel slightly
anything else
calmer.
before we wrap up?
No, I need a nap after this. My brain hurts.
Yeah.
No, I'm all good. Actually, Daniel,
I
I'd
think it's
like to
good to think
connect
of
with you
Obsidian as the
one-on-one
back
here
end.
sometime soon.
Sorry, Edward, will you say that again?
I said I'd like to. I sent you a message. I'd like to set up a time to have a one-on-one with you. A very short one-on-one. I have a couple of specific things to talk about.
Cool. Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. All right, guys, we'll wrap this up. Thank you guys for joining, and we will be doing this next week. Invite a friend, and we'll see you soon.